Should I use taxis, public transport, or walk around? If you see a cab that says freelancer, do not get into that. Hi, it's Stuffed Cabbage Adventures, and today we're answering your questions about Budapest from Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and all over the web. Now, I'm a local YouTuber, born and raised here in Budapest. So I was wondering what are the questions that you guys may have on all over the web, and I've been searching for the most common ones. So let's dive into them right now. First question: should I bring cash or do places accept credit cards? If I need cash, should I exchange at home or the airport? If you come to Budapest, you can use credit card at almost all the places. However, there are some attractions and places where you will definitely need cash. So for example, you have the labyrinth in the castle district or the public restrooms on the streets. Those will also need some coins. It's best to have some Hungarian forints, and it's very important. We don't use the euro for whatever reason. You need to exchange Hungarian forints. So if you need to exchange some money, then do not do it at the airport. That's gonna be the worst conversion rates you can get. Come into the city, come into Budapest, and you can get a pretty decent conversion rate. So do not do it at the airport. Next question. Where should I book my accommodation? What are the best areas to stay at? If you look at Budapest, it's obviously two cities combined in some form or fashion, Buda and Pest. The Buda side, there are hills and mountains, so I would recommend choosing the Pest side if you want to stay at a hotel. And there you will see there's a tram line of 4/6 going through a boulevard, forming sort of like a half circle. Most of the tourist attractions will be within that half circle. You can easily navigate there even by walking or using public transport. Next question. How do I get from the airport to the city center? Google Maps, maybe. It's really easy to actually get from the airport to the city center by using Google Maps, because what it will tell you is that there's 100E bus, which is a special service bus that takes you from the airport right into the city center with almost no stops. You need to buy a special ticket for that. It's about 1,500 forints. You can also use taxis. There's a dedicated taxi kiosk at the airport. You will see a huge logo and use that to get from the airport into the city center. You can also use and call other taxi services and they will come and pick you up. But if you don't want to call, don't want to book anything up front, you can either use the bus or you can either use the taxis from the airport. What are the best things to do in Budapest, please? Well, that's a very broad question, and you would need to know how long are you staying here, how many people are there kids, and what's your budget basically, and what are your interests. But I would say try out a thermal bath, go out in the morning and check out a butcher or a market hall where you can get some sausage, spicy sausage with some mustard and pickled cabbage. You should try these because that will be amazing. And you should also go and check out the architecture, go to the castle district, go downtown, look at the Parliament building, go into nature, go just to the Városliget City Park or the Margaret Island. But in general, I think the best thing to do is to subscribe to the channel because we have a ton of other things to recommend for you. Which thermal baths are the best? Well, it really depends on what you're looking for. Basically, I would say if you're looking for amazing architecture and the most popular thermal bath, then you're gonna go to Széchenyi Thermal Bath. It is one of the largest, if not the largest, thermal spa in Europe, and it's the most famous one. So it's gonna be more expensive and more crowded. But if you want a less popular but still very popular spot, then try Gellért. Now I do have to note that they're planning to close it for renovation, so check their website if they're actually open at the time when you come here. But it looks gorgeous on the inside. It's one of my favorite ones. But if you want something, you know, less touristy but still get an amazing view of the city, for example, then you can go to Rudas, because that's also close to where Gellért is in the city center, and you can get this amazing view of the Danube River banks. And also, if you want other kinds of thermal baths that are absolutely not available on tourist maps, well, you can go to Veli Bay, there's also Lukácsfürdő, and we have a ton more because Hungary has an amazing thermal bath scene. Here's another one. I want to go on the guided tour at the Parliament, but the website shows all tickets are already sold out. Can I get tickets elsewhere? The Parliament is an amazing building. It's one of the icons of Budapest, and you can, even though it's an active building, for politics, you can visit it. And there is one website, jegymester.hu. They're the ones who are selling the official tickets. Now, I heard there are other ways you can get the tickets elsewhere, but a lot of them will be overpriced. They may be scams. So I would just not do that and stick to the original website and try to purchase your tickets there. If you see that they're sold out, it's probably because there's some event that's going on and they're just not selling any tickets at that time. But you should definitely visit it, and we actually have a video if you want to know more about how that tour is. How can I get around in Budapest? Should I use taxis, public transport, or walk around? Well, any of those basically, because you can use taxis to get around. It's not too expensive compared to Western taxis in other cities across Europe. However, be cautious. If you see a cab that says freelancer, do not get into that. Those guys have no affiliation with any sort of respectful company, and I'm not saying this as everybody's like that, but most probably if you're a foreigner and a tourist, they will rip you off. So make sure to get into a cab that's from a respected company. If you see a logo, then it's probably not a freelancer. But I would suggest using their apps. So you have Bolt, for example, it's pretty amazing. We use that most often. But what about public transport? Public transport is amazing here in Budapest. Our infrastructure was terrible 10 years ago. Now it's actually quite nice, so you can get around fairly easily and in a cheap manner if you use public transport. And I would suggest downloading the Budapest Go app. You can also purchase digital tickets there and use that to get around. You can plan your trips. It's probably a no-brainer. So if you are already familiar with Google Maps, you can easily use this application as well, and it will tell you how to get from A to B. But what about walking? Because walking is also very amazing here in Budapest. As I told you, there's this half circle where it's the best to stay at. And the reason for that is it's easy to walk from one end to the other and explore the city, basically finding a ton of sights to see and attractions to enjoy. We have, luckily, a quite walkable city. Hi, I'm currently here. Good for you. Anyone can give me the name of a good ruin bar, please? Well, there are a ton of ruin bars in Budapest. There's actually one area, we call it the Jewish district, and it's where most of the ruin bars are. The most famous one is Simpla. If you want to enjoy that, then probably go in an afternoon time. Do not go there night unless you really want to party with a ton of people, because it can get crowded, because it is one of the most popular ones. But I also like places like Bobek Cafe, Kőleves, and there are a ton of other ones in this area that you can just, walk around, get into one, drink one beer, and then decide if you want to stay for more. If not, then, you can do a pub crawl and just walk around. It will be expensive and there will be a ton of foreigners because it is a tourist attraction of Budapest, but I think it's worth to check some of our ruin bars out. Is there any fun things to do, especially for kids? Well, if you have a kid, then Budapest is quite kid-friendly. We have a ton of parks, for example, like Margaret Island, which is not just an island, it's a park where you can do buggy rides. There are a ton of playgrounds. We also have a beach there. Then we also have the Városliget City Park, where you basically have the city zoo. Who doesn't love animals? Kids really love animals. There are also many playgrounds. You have the House of Music, which may sound, something that's like a museum, and why do kids want to go into museum? Well, it's an interactive museum and it's a pretty cool one, and I see a lot of kids enjoying that. Plus we have things like the Palace of Wonders, for example, which shows science to kids in a very understandable way, and everything is available there in English, and it's a pretty cool place for your kids. but you can also go hiking to Normafa. So, I mean, there's just a ton of stuff to do. Hopefully some of these your kids will also enjoy. In regards to getting around, it seems like public transport weekly pass is a better value than the Budapest card. Can anyone confirm? We can't really answer that right now in one sentence, because with the Budapest card you not only get access to the public transport, you get access to a ton of museums, you get some discounts at places, and to be honest, it will really depend on what you're looking for. We will definitely do a video about it in the future, but right now I would say go and check on the official website what are the things included and make your decision based on that. It's expensive, but maybe if you go for a ton of museums and a ton of these experiences, it will be worth for your money. What's the weather like in Budapest? Well, I just checked and the weather is lovely, it's sunny right now, but in the morning it was raining. But when you want to know what the weather will be like in November or next year's April, we really don't know. But what I do usually is that I just Google, what's the weather like in X city in November, for example, and then I get the average weather applicable for that particular city. So I make my decisions based on that information. Okay, here's one about restaurants. Should I tip at restaurants and bars, please? What's the acceptable percentage for a tip? Check the menu, and if it says that there is a service charge of 10%, 12%, 15%, then there is no need to tip. But if it's not there and at the end you get the bill and you're unsure, then ask your waiter if the service charge is included or not. And if they say no, then you're free to make a decision. Do you want to tip or you don't want to tip? And if you do want to tip, then the recommendation usually was around 10%. Now it's more like 12 to 15%. But make your choice. Did you enjoy your meal? If you have the power to tip, because no service charge is included, then you can even decide not to leave a tip. Any recommendations on best things to do during Christmas period in Budapest? Well, Christmas is one of the most important holidays for us Hungarians. We spend that time with our lovely families, and basically nothing's gonna be open on the 24th, 25th and 26th. 24th, during the day, you will still have some places open, but they will close very early because that's Christmas Eve. That's the most important holiday for us Hungarians throughout the year. And there may be few restaurants open during these days, but I would not get my hopes high. To be honest, I would avoid coming here during Christmas, but if you just want to walk around in the city, enjoy the amazing architecture, and basically beat the crowds, because there's gonna be literally nobody on the streets, then maybe, yeah, Christmas, you can come here and check out a lot of things. But not much will be open. So those were your questions from the internet, and we have answered most of them. So if you're coming to Budapest, and you got the answers now, hopefully you will have an amazing time here. And if you want to know more about Budapest and what to do, check out our playlist, subscribe to the channel, or you still have any more questions? I think I answered most of them, but if you do, leave a comment below and we'll probably get back to you. Thanks for watching, see you guys in the next one. Bye!